When you build a car, you hope it has a run of maybe 5 years. That'd be good. That'd be profitable. 10 years? How about 25 years? The Mazda Miata, or the MX-5, which is going to be celebrating its 25th year in production. And there's a reason for that. Very few times do you get something right the first time. But this is a classic case of that. We're here in the garage. We got 3 Mazda Miatas, or MX-5s if you live outside the United States. The first generation, 1990 model. My very own 1996 model that I've had for, oh my God, a long time. And of course, the current model on sale now. It's a fascinating story that almost didn't happen. Let's meet the 2 gentlemen responsible, Bob Hall and Tom Matano. Come on in, guys.
Hey, Jay.
Now, Bob, at the time, you were a journalist.
At the start, yep.
And of course, Tom, you are the designer who did just a brilliant job on this car.
I was with Automotive News and Auto Week, and somehow Mr. Yamamoto, who was the head of R&D at Mazda at the time, thought I knew what I was talking about. One day, we're sitting in the conference room 401 at Mazda headquarters, and he goes, Bob-san, what sort of car should we build next? And I had this crazy idea, and I did this awful chalkboard sketch. And said, a sports car, cheap sports car, kind of under the RX-7. And he went, yeah, okay. That was that, and 2 years later, I got hired at Mazda, and shortly after that, I had this tap on my shoulder at my office in California, and he goes, Bob-san, what are you doing here? What are you working on? B-Series pickup. You should work on the sports car project. I had forgotten about it.
And I was in cold Munich, and Bob called, would you like to work in Southern California? So without us thinking of anything, yes.
So the car was designed here in Southern California, not in Japan.
In Irvine, yeah.
Oh, in Irvine, okay, wow.
It was designed and engineered and conceived to be a great sports car.
Okay.
And it didn't matter where you lived. It didn't matter. You could be 18, you could be 80. It was, if you liked sports cars, it was for you. It wasn't the fastest car, but it was the most fun.
Now, the Miata, or the MX-5, has been compared to European sports cars, Austin Healey, Lotus Elan. That deliberate, coincidental?
Well, we wanted to capture the spirit of that British cars or European sports cars. It's a pure engineer wanted to know certain, one believe in something, bring it out exactly what they believed in, rather than committees or anything.
And how about the fact that it's twin cam? Because when that came out, although it's fairly commonplace today, that was pretty exotic.
At the start, not only did it had a single cam engine, it had a rigid axle. And as we got more into it, the engineering department found, this is actually costing us less than we thought, so let's see what we can do. And we ended up with independent rear, which we didn't have in the original concept,
right,
and twin cam. And it was great. I mean, because that changed it from being a sports car to a sports car with uppercase S and uppercase C.
Right, right.
And I think that's one of the reasons it's had this longevity it's had. The car officially went on sale on the July 1989. They launched in Japan and expecting the volume would be around 200 to 300 cars a month. And they were selling 2,000 to 4,000 a month. The Japanese success, I think, surprised everybody. None of us thought it would be a sports car like that. And it was a sensation there.
Was front-wheel drive ever considered?
Our documentation for the car was always to be an RWD car. Japan had a styling competition where they had the Hiroshima studio, the Tokyo studio, and us on a small sports car project, which is the first place this really got the push into the corporate world. And we did rear drive, Hiroshima did front drive, and Tokyo did midship rear drive. And in the end, we won.
So it turns out to be the best-selling sports car in the history of the world.
So far.
So far, just about close to 1 million units. Why?
It had good timing when it came out. There were no real rivals to speak of. It was the only game in town. It's not the fastest, but I think it has the most miles per gallon. It's a fun-to-drive car. How could you not like it? It's going to go.
I think that what you see, what you get, no false pretense at all in any generation. We had 3 generations. Every car's had same principle, message.
Now, I was told this was possibly the first acoustically tuned car. Is that true?
Yes, that's true. We wanted to make sure every part of the car feels like a sports car. So the tailpipe exhaust note is one of the most important factors. So we pitched to our program engineer, and they tested all the sound waves of different kinds to composite, actually, to make the sound that what sounds like a little sports car. Tom, you're the designer. How do you feel about what you created? Would you consider this one of your greatest creations? Yeah. No. The greatest feeling about it is the people driving. I live up in San Francisco. If you see people coming down a curvy road and smile on their face, and I feel like I've done something. Yeah.
Well, I've heard about the origins of the car, but let's go out and drive it. Well, when I Get in this car, realize this is all I really need. Plenty of power, fun to drive, good handling. I love the look of the car, I love the size of the car. It's easy to position on the road. Gearbox, very nice. You really enjoy shifting it. Clutch is light enough so as not to be a hindrance. Weight distribution is nice, doesn't plow. This is where this car really shines. You can take it to 7 grand in every gear. It's not about going fast, it's about going swiftly. And you can drive this car very, very swiftly. You know, so many modern cars are just heavy. And power steering and pneumatic suspension, all this stuff is great, but it's physics. You can't make up for lightweight. You can add horsepower, or you can take off weight. And taking off weight's a little better. Now there's a new Mazda Miata MX-5 coming in 15. It's a technical partnership with Alfa Romeo.
I think it's molto bene.
Yeah.
Okay? I think it's really good. The new car is going to be lighter than the current generation car, which is a great car. But that'll bring it more in the flavor of the original, which was lighter weight.
Yeah, it's a good reward for the Mazda credential that Alfa came to us to use the Mazda as a basis. And a part of the success was the truthful to it, not trendy. If you chase the trend, this wouldn't support it for 25 years.
You think it's got another 25 years in it?
If they did it right.
Well, I got it right the first time.